All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy TIRADO, and welcome back. Today, I'd like to examine the straight up troubling double standard in how you, the public, assign blame, how you assign sympathy, how you assign responsibility. You guys are all over the place. And I'm going to prove that to you guys in my assessment with these two cases, one having to be with Karmelo Anthony, happened a month ago, and then obviously the most recent one right now, which would be Ryan Hinton Sr. When Karmelo Anthony unfortunately fatally stabbed one of his fellow students, much of the criticism really wasn't focused on him. It was focused on the victim's father, accusing him of failing to teach his son conflict resolution. And if you don't believe me, I posted a video on it. You can just go ahead and you can look at the comments. The delusion and the argument in which people are making is just, I understand why the reading levels are at the grade level they're in. Now, in a very different case, we're watching people respond in the exact opposite direction. Now, I'm going to give you some context. On May 1st, Ryan Hinton, he happened to be 18 years old, just about to graduate, was inside a stolen vehicle, and unfortunately, he was shot by an Ohio police officer. All right, he didn't make it. After fleeing a stolen vehicle with him and his three other friends, he allegedly had a firearm and pointed the firearm at the officers. Now, I saw the video. It was a bit unclear. There were several officers on scene. I'm sure there are other videos. I'm not sure why they rushed to just do this one. I hope that this portion of the video wasn't their best shot. But if it was, if you don't have a trained eye, you're not going to understand. You're not going to understand what to look for. With that being said, less than 24 hours later, his father decided to drive his car directly into who he thought was a police officer. Crushed him into a pole. This police officer, who happened to be retired, I think he retired a few days before this incident, didn't even collect a pension check yet, decided that he was going to work some outside employment as a school crossing guard. Now, like I said, this individual, this retired police officer, had absolutely no connection to Ryan's death. So in my opinion, this was a straight act of emotional retaliation. You're not going to beat this. You're not even going to come nowhere close. And the problem is, instead of condemning this behavior, because a lot of you aren't, many of you are rushing to justify the father's actions with an eye for an eye. So I get it. If it was an eye for an eye, then wouldn't you want to get justice by unaliving the person who unalived your son? Why would you go after somebody who had absolutely nothing to do with your son? Nothing, zero. And to make matters worse, apparently this guy was a stand-up police officer. Impeccable record. Community loved him. So I don't understand how you guys think. I really don't. Again, it might be just the grade, the reading comprehension. I see it in how you guys type in the comments, but it's like as if grief now suspends moral accountability somehow. Like, I understand that these cases are not identical in circumstances. One involves peer violence. The other involves law enforcement. I understand that. But if we look at the pattern and how the public applies blame, that is what's worth examining. Let me give you context. In Karmelo Anthony's case, people blamed the victim's upbringing for his death, right? They claimed Austin Metcalf's father failed him, that he didn't teach his son how to walk away from conflict. But in the case of Ryan Hinton, the father who committed a deliberate act of murder is being absolved, even defended in the comments. Now, I know it's not all of you. It's the ignorant people. I get it. Because people somehow sympathize with his grief. That's not justice. That's straight up inconsistency. And if a young man is involved in criminal activity and his father's response to tragedy is premeditated violence, then we have to consider the environment that shaped both of them. This isn't a judgment based on hindsight. It's an honest look at generational influence. These actions reveal a mindset that may have helped shape the choices his son made. Grief may explain emotional distress, but it does not excuse murder. You cannot claim moral authority while shifting accountability to fit your preferred narrative. Whether it's a teenager with a knife or a grieving father behind the wheel, it doesn't matter. Violence is still violence, and justice must be consistent across the board. I really don't have anything further to say. With that being said, I'm going to leave it in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.